What's up, diggity dogs?
You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and last year I did a video showing my setup of my computer, my gaming setup, and what I use to record and edit and whatnot. But I thought it'd be nice to do an updated version, so as you can see, I've still got the desktop set up. It's got a mouse pad now, so there's an upgrade. It's also got a webcam. It's just an Xbox 360 Vision camera. I specifically got that one just because I knew it would be intentionally really shitty low quality, but that was kind of the joke. Of course, we got the good old blue snowball microphone that I use to record most of my videos. There's the desktop itself. When I want to record audio, this is what I use, Audacity. It's typically pretty useful, and it's completely free. So I just, I hit record, and then I record it, and it goes like that. And it uses the blue snowball microphone, which I showed earlier. So that's how I record audio typically. As far as editing, I use Windows Movie Maker to edit my videos. This is what I've always used. It's what I used on my old laptop. It's what I use on this current desktop. I know it's not the greatest software, but it's free and it's what I'm used to. Can't really get it anymore because it was discontinued, but here it is. I do have Filmora on here as well. It's the free version, which gives you this really obnoxious watermark. I do think it's probably an objectively better software, but it's a little bit more of a learning curve because I'm used to using Movie Maker. That said, I was trained to use Adobe Premiere in college, and this is pretty similar to that, but it's been years since I've done that, so that's why I still use Movie Maker, despite the fact that I do have better software here. I used to use XSplit here to stream, but I don't really have a license for it anymore, because I stopped paying for it. Actually, I wasn't paying for it, Kyler was, but since I no longer have it, it's not really useful. As you can see, I don't have email and password for it, because we don't pay for it anymore. I use Game Capture HD to actually capture gameplay. I used to use it to stream, but now it doesn't like to do that because there's some issues with it that way. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass because it doesn't like the browser anymore. So I do need to switch what I use to stream when I start streaming again. I do have OBS Studio on here, and I think that'll work just fine. But there are some issues with actually getting that set up. OBS is a little bit more complicated, I find. You can do a lot more with it, but it takes a little bit more to get set up. Let me be clear, OBS itself isn't necessarily hard to use. It's actually pretty easy to use. I've used it before. It's just getting it set up to the right resolution and stuff so it records or streams in good quality. And also the fact is Movie Maker doesn't like those files. So if I'm using OBS, it's going to be for streaming, not for like saved videos that I'm going to edit. Because Movie Maker doesn't like to edit those kind of videos. Filmora is okay with it, but Movie Maker doesn't like it so much. So I need to do that again. Probably shouldn't take me too long, but I gotta get the format done. And I've done it before. I've streamed with OBS before. It's just not on this computer, so setting it up on this computer is a little bit annoying, but it's really not that tough. I'm sure I can get it done eventually. Other than OBS, I also have Hypercam 2, which I use to record. I know it's a little bit of a meme. That's actually what I'm using to record right now is Hypercam 2. But it's also free, so that's what I have. OBS is free too, so again, I like to use free software. I'm very stingy when it comes to that. Now, a lot of the times when I'm getting clips for my reviews, there's a couple of different ways I can do it. I have tried ripping with VLC directly from the DVDs on some things, with mixed results. A lot of the times it'll get corrupted when I try to actually put the file into Movie Maker, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. Other times I'll use Hypercam, which, again, mixed results. The quality's not the greatest, but it does get the job done. And then finally, the best option, which I do when I do response videos, I just have Anthony make me an MP4 of whatever it is I need. Now, I realize having someone else do it for me isn't exactly, knowing how to do it myself, but in all honesty, he gets it to me pretty quickly and then just sends it to me, so whenever I need something like that, Anthony's super helpful on that. So he's a very big contributor to how this channel runs in some regards. Obviously, he's not my sole source of clips, but the higher quality ones and the response videos, he's definitely better at getting for me. Also, as far as audio clips I use, Anthony sends me a lot of those too. However, there are some things that I do have a CD of that I have ripped from the CD using Windows Media Player, and that's worked without any problems. Like I said, for whatever reason, ripping with VLC from DVDs doesn't always work out for me, typically doesn't, but ripping with Windows Media Player from CDs seems to work just fine. I have a much bigger actual TV now. I've got my brother's 4K curved TV that I'm using currently, because he got a better TV, so I'm using this one now. Still got my same Xbox One. The disk drive has some trouble now, but it still works otherwise. I finally hooked up my capture card. It's an Elgato HD 60. I've had this capture card for a couple years now, but it was down in my brother's room before, so now I have it. Here's a splitter, which I have to use when I record the PS3, because the PS3 doesn't work if you don't use an HDMI splitter, because it won't show up properly on the screen. I got the same PS4. There's my DVD player underneath. There's my PS3. It's not currently hooked up, but there it is. Those of you who may have watched some of my streams may know that my PS3 is modded. Here's one of my original Xboxes. This is the one that I primarily use when I play actual Xbox games, because it has a good chunk of them just kind of saved on the hard drive because it's modded as well. All of my original Xboxes are modded, mine personally anyway. So to capture with PS4, you want to make sure this is turned off. This enable HDCP, you want to make sure that's off if you're using your PS4 for like capturing, because HDCP is like copyright stuff that makes it so that your capture card won't cooperate with it. And then with my Xbox, it doesn't work when I use the splitter. I've had the PS4 work with the splitter before, but the Xbox doesn't like the splitter. So with the Xbox, it's got to be plugged directly into the capture card, and the PS4 has to have this setting turned off. Then the PS3 has to use the splitter. Here's my old laptop that I used to use for most of my editing. This thing doesn't really get a whole hell of a lot of use now. It mainly just sits and collects dust. As you can see, it's been through some abuse. This one actually has Windows 10. My actual computer that I use, my desktop, has Windows 7, but even though this has Windows 10, it's a lot slower because it's older, more beat up, and it's less fancy hardware and software, so it's kind of not the best. It does have Windows 10, but it's very slow, and the battery kind of sucks and will die really quickly if it's not plugged in. Despite that, it does still have a lot of my older videos and files backed up on it, so it is still nifty to have just in case. When I want to stream or record older consoles that don't use HDMI, I have to use this adapter. Now this adapter is a very shitty Chinese knockoff. It's very finicky, and if I bump it, it can like fuck everything up and make it so that the video disconnects. But it is useful when I want to play original Xbox, or if I want to play on like my PS2, or if I want to use any other consoles that use composite cables. These cables, for instance, are from a Superjoy Power Player. Anytime I want to stream like NES or SNES or Famicom or even Game Boy Advance, I use this. This is my Retron 5. It's what I use to play those cartridges in HD, and also allows me to capture Game Boy. Plus it's completely region-free, so that's very useful as well. And whenever I need to record actual live-action footage, I just use my phone here, and it's built-in camera and microphone, so nothing's fancy there. In the past, I've used my other smartphones that I had before this one. This one's a Samsung Galaxy S9, by the way. But I've also had an iPhone and a few others. I also used to use a tablet before I had a smartphone, but again, nothing too fancy ever. But yeah, that does it for this updated version of my setup for how I make videos on this channel and how I play video games, things like that. I hope you've enjoyed it. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles.
You need to be stopped!
Suck it, you shit!
We pretty much nailed it the first time.